The 2025 Milan-San Remo will be remembered as one of the fastest and most strategically intense editions in history. UAE Emirates executed a devastating plan on the Cipressa, but failed to shake off Van der Poel. Pogacar threw everything he had on the Poggio, but the Dutchman proved that he is just as lethal in a sprint as he is on a climb. The Classicissima remains unpredictable. The Classicissima remains the race of the gods. Absolutely. Here's an enhanced description with tags, keywords, and some emojis for your video titled "The Most Epic Battles of the Decade, Pogacar versus Van der Poel." From the opening kilometers, the familiar pattern of San Remo emerged. An early breakaway, featuring riders from invited teams, gained a lead of over 4 minutes, seen on the peloton. Among them, cyclists from Bardiani CSF, Aolo Cometa, and Lotto Disney embarked on a near-impossible mission, aware that their chances of victory were slim. The peloton, however, showed no signs of panic. Alpecin de Sayuninc, UAE Emirates, and Ineos Grenadiers maintained control with patience, ensuring that the race would be decided in the final kilometers, as tradition dictates in the Classicissima. The first 200 kilometers passed without major incidents, but tension was palpable. The favorites knew that everything would be decided in the last 30 kilometers, where the Cipressa and the Poggio would dictate the outcome. Then the storm broke. The peloton stormed into the Cipressa, the penultimate challenge of the day, with ferocious intensity. At the base of the climb, the breakaway was mercilessly swallowed up, just as UAE Emirates unleashed its offensive. The Emirati team had a clear plan: launch an attack on the Cipressa to isolate their rivals and break the race before the Poggio. To execute it, they deployed a demolition strategy with their climbers trained. Tim Wellens took the front and set a brutal pace, reducing the peloton to a stretched-out line of riders on the brink. Jonathan Narvaez, the final key piece of UAE, delivered the decisive blow with a brutal acceleration, launching Pogacar with 3 kilometers still to climb. It was the defining moment. Pogacar attacked like a lightning bolt. The peloton disintegrated instantly. Only 3 men could follow. Mathieu van der Poel, his killer instinct keeping him glued to Pogacar's wheel. Filippo Ganna, the Italian powerhouse, suffering but holding on. Romain Grégoire, the young French sensation, showing remarkable resilience. They crested the Cipressa as a reduced quartet, with the peloton struggling seconds behind. The fate of the race was in their legs. With 9 kilometers of rolling terrain before the Poggio, the trio of Pogacar, Van der Poel, and Ganna knew collaboration was essential. If they wanted to contest the victory, they had to maintain their lead over the chasing group. And so, they did. 3 titans, 3 men who would normally fight against each other, decided to work together. Their turns were short and precise, with Ganna using his immense power on the flats, while Pogacar and Van der Poel conserved energy for the final climb. Grégoire, however, couldn't sustain the pace. His legs gave in, and he soon dropped back, leaving the battle to 3. The Poggio loomed ahead. The last stand was imminent. With 9 kilometers to the finish, the survivors reached the Poggio, the final obstacle before the descent into San Remo. This was where legends would be made. From the base of the climb, Pogacar sought to seal his advantage with relentless attacks. He struck with the ferocity of a lion, aiming to drop his rivals before the descent. Ganna, though resilient, lost ground after Pogacar's first assault, proving that his domain was the flats, not explosive climbs. But Van der Poel refused to surrender. Despite all of Pogacar's accelerations, the Dutchman clung to his wheel, his eyes fixed on the summit. At the crest of the Poggio, with the wind at their backs, Van der Poel launched a lethal counterattack. In a stunning display of explosiveness, he surged ahead of Pogacar. But the Slovenian refused to concede, chasing him down, keeping the tension alive. The battle was far from over. Everything would be decided in the descent and the final sprint on Via Roma. As the road flattened in the final meters, the outcome was set. The three riders exchanged glances one last time, knowing that only one would claim glory. Van der Poel launched a devastating sprint, giving his rivals no chance. With overwhelming power, he distanced Ganna and Pogacar, who tried to react but couldn't match the Dutchman's speed. The Dutch champion crossed the finish line with authority, arms raised high, celebrating his second victory in Milan-San Remo. Ganna, despite his bravery and endurance, secured second place, while Pogacar, drained from his repeated attacks, completed the podium.